You're listening to the Madness4life News Podcasting Network with your host, Matt Maldonado.
Turn down the side street where the madness disappears. Chaotic pressure builds up in the atmosphere. But after a short while the English becomes numb.
Welcome ladies and gentlemen. That is Close to Modern. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me today. My name is your host, Matt Maldonado, here in Fremont Region 9 in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Madness4life News. The Friday edition, the August 3rd. It is 2 o'clock. I'm going to be getting into a couple subjects here today on InfoWars. It's going to be only 24.6% of all jobs in the United States are good jobs. Police claim handcuffed man shot himself in the head. New effort to curtail Posse Comitatus after Colorado Massacre. Robotics Professor warns drones will lead to significant factory of slaughter. Now, let's get into this first article here today. It's not going to be this one. I was going to do the work one, which was from theamericandream.com. Actually, we're going to go into the Robotics Professor warns drones will lead to significant slaughter. Let's get into that one right here. This was by Steve Watson from Infowars.com. It was posted recently today. A artificial intelligence expert has argued that President Barack Obama is setting a precedent by embracing drone technology as a means of covert warfare. Professor Noel Shickley of Sheffield University penned a piece in The Guardian today that slams the use of missile strikes using unmanned aerial vehicles, warning that what we are seeing is just the beginning of the intelligence revolution of war. Industrial revolution of war, actually. Shackley notes that the CIA is thought to have killed anywhere up to 1,035 civilians in drone strikes outside of war zones in the last 8 years, including 200 children, who in the right mind would give a powerful unmanned air force to a covert organization with such a track record for uncountable and illegal killing, the professor asks. Obama is establishing a dangerous precedent that is, at best, legally questionable in a world where more than 50 countries are acquiring the technology, he adds. Shackley warns that in a modern-day arms race, other countries such as Israel, India, Russia, and especially China are racing to develop export armed attack drones. Even the 10-year accept of CIA drone strikes, what can be said when other countries use drone strikes against perceived threats in other states, Shakely asks. Shakely, a founding member of the International Community for Robot Arms, the ICRAC, also noted that current drones are like the Wright brothers. Prototypes compared to what's coming next. Here is where the real danger resides. Automated killing as the final step in the industrial revolution of war, a clean factor of slaughter with no physical blood on our hands, and none of our own side killed. He writes, noting that automated drones have been under development since at least 2004. We have records of civilian casualties, including numerous children from drone strikes. When there are humans watching on computer screens and deciding when to fire, Shakely notes, think how much worse it will be when drones deal death automatically. Is this really a technology we want the secret technology services of the world to control? Well, my answer is no. We don't need a technology like that to literally think like Skynet or Terminator, where they basically, the robots in that movie, where basically they'll just kill you on, not really on command, just on what they've been programmed to do, is just kill people. But anyway, continuing here. Professor Shakely previously appeared on The Alex Jones Show in 2008 when he warned that the world was sleepwalking into a potentially lethal technocracy and called for safeguards on such technology to put into place. If you have no robot, then it's going to make decisions who to kill, when to kill, and where to kill them. Shakely stated at the time, the scary thing is that the reason this has to happen is because of mission complexity, and also so that when there's a problem with communications, you can send a robot in with no communication and it will decide who to kill. And that is really worrying to me, the professor said. The one thing I try to get across to policymakers is that there is this kind of mythical artificial intelligence. Every time killer robots are mentioned, people start talking about Terminator and Skynet, like I just said. That's why I said that, because I read this before. And all this, continuing here, all this stuff that's really fairy tales. And if they were like that, it would be better, because what you've got here is like a washing machine. This is a dumb, stupid machine. Then you are going to give it the decision to kill people. It's just ridiculous. As we noted this week, a new 62-foot-long automated drone called the X-47B is said to become an part of the Navy's unmanned carrier-launched airborne surveillance and strike system, UCLASS, U-Class. The new drone has unveiled during its first public test flight flight over was it Chesapeake Bay this week. The craft was airborne for 35 minutes and reached an altitude of 7,500 feet, traveling at speeds up to 207 miles per hour. The Navy wants to eventually have the aircraft take off and land onto an aircraft carrier hundreds of miles away, all with just the click of a mouse. This would make it the only craft of its kind to have that ability. The drone is controlled by an onboard control display unit, which it is said can independently think for itself, pilot across corrections, react to unforeseen consistencies, and chart new directions. Meanwhile, as the use of drones domestically in the U.S. explodes, another dangerous precedent has been set this week with a North Dakota court approving the use of drones to help arrest citizens on U.S. soil. District Judge Joel Med denied a request to dismiss charges against Rondi Barsart, who was arrested after law enforcement resorted to using an unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, to inspect his property, according to court documents obtained by U.S. News. You can find that at Infowars.com if you want to also listen to the video in the article itself explaining it. There's also other articles explaining that story. Now, moving on here. New effort to curtail Posse Comitatus after Colorado Massacre. That is right. This is by Paul Joseph Watson. An alleged increase in the use of improvised explosive devices on U.S. soil, including last month's Colorado Massacre. The federal government and members of Congress are pushing for Posse Comitatus to be curtailed and for the U.S. military to work closer with law enforcement in fighting homegrown terrorists. Warning about the growing threat of IEDs across the United States. It's just kind of like the Saddam thing where he has weapons of mass destruction when, first of all, he had no weapons of mass destruction to begin with. But hey, that's okay. Continuing here. The Pentagon is pushing for Congress to relax Posse Comitatus, which substantially limit the powers of the federal government to use the military of law enforcement unless under precise and extreme circumstances. Section 1385 of the Posse Comitatus Act states, whoever expect in cases and under circumstances expressly authorized by the Constitution or Act of Congress willfully uses any part of the Army or the Air Force as a Posse Comitatus or otherwise to execute the laws shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 2 years or both. The need for the military to aid police in dealing with IEDs. The Pentagon is complaining about legal restrictions on the activities of U.S. armed forces. Within the United States, labeling Posse Comitatus an impediment that some members of Congress are pressing to change, reports the Houston Chronicle. House Committee on Homeland Security leaders, Representative Peter King, Republican from New York, Daniel Langerin, Representative from Republican from California, and Michael McCall, Republican from Austin, are leading an effort to amend Posse Comitatus in order to allow Pentagon specialists to coordinate with local law enforcement bodies. So what they're trying to do is basically get rid of Posse Comitatus so they can allow not only foreign troops but also the U.S. troops in order to basically put in martial law and just arrest just anyone. Just say, oh, you got IEDs. No, sir, that's a plant. Doesn't matter. We're just going to arrest you anyway. Well, where's the law? It just doesn't matter. We just made it up. It's all right. We're just going to arrest everybody we see. It's just all right. We're doing this for your safety. Okay. Continuing here, while police being trained by military experts on how a deal with IEDs is unlikely to cause much uproar, the effort to amend Posse Comitatus widely recognized as a barrier to the imposition of martial law, is guaranteed to stoke controversy. I can't even speak. Especially given the fact that the federal government now identifies American citizens who uphold constitutional rights as domestic extremists. The domestic IEDs threat from both homeland-grown terrorists and global threat networks is real and presents a significant security challenge for the United States and our international partners. Army Lieutenant General Michael Barbaro told Congress in classified testimony. Among the recent examples of IED use by authorities is that of the Colorado theater shooter who allegedly rigged his apartment with the devices. And he told them, by the way, even though the fact that how did a guy that's actually unemployed get all this stuff, and got all the equipment that he needed. And he says, and everybody just goes, oh, it's because, he got money from, the federal government for the grants and stuff like that. And you also can get it online. It's like, well, you can't really get flash grenades and all those bombs that you need. You kind of, sometimes you really need to make them. But hey, that's all right. You don't really need to believe me. You can look those up. How the whole thing's a fraud, but hey. Continuing here, as we saw in a recent study funded by the Department of Homeland Security, these homegrown terrorists, the military is being brought in the corner of are primarily American citizens, not Islamic extremists. Oh, and by the way, the terrorists that they so-called say that we need to stop, they fund them. If anybody is just listening to this conversation, this is Madness4life News, and my name is host of the show is Matt Maldonado. The CIA does fund Al Qaeda. It's not that hard to know this, guys. All right. The military is being brought in to counter primarily American citizens, not Islamic extremists. I already said that. According to the International Consortium for the study of terrorism and responses to terrorism at the University of Maryland, Americans who are suspicious of centralized federal authority and revert of individual liberty are to be characterized as extreme right-wing terrorist. And as soon as Mitt Romney comes in, you're a communist if you don't like him. It's just totally bizarre. It's happened the same thing with Alex Jones when Bill Clinton went in. He said he was a right-wing crazy person, and then when Bush came in, he didn't like him. He's a communist. Yeah. It's just going to get worse. Fears that martial law may be opposed to deal with widespread civil unrest in the United States have never been stronger. As InfoWars recently reported, a newly linked U.S. Army military police training manual for civil disobedience operations outlines how military assess are to be used domestically to quorum riots, confiscate firearms, and even kill Americans on U.S. soil. During a mass civil unrest back in 2008, U.S. troops returning from Iraq were earmarked for homeland patrols, with one of their roles including helping with civil unrest and crowd control. In December 2008, the Washington Post reported on plans to station 20,000 more U.S. troops inside America for purposes of domestic security from September 2011 onwards, an expansion of Northcom's militarization of the country in preparation for potential civil unrest following a total economic collapse or a massive terror attack. A report produced that same year by the U.S. Army War College's Strategic Institute warned that the United States may experience massive civil unrest in the wake of a series of crises, which it termed strategic shock. Widespread civil violence inside the United States would force the defense establishment to coordinate properties in extremists to defend basic domestic order and human security, stated the report. Authored by Lieutenant Colonel Nathan Ferrier, adding that the military may be needed to quell purposeful domestic resistance. In a recent Council of Foreign Relations piece, Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army General Raymond T. Warno? I don't know. Sorry about that. Advocated for the U.S. Army to be transitioned into more flexible force by developing in situations normally reserved for domestic law enforcement officials. Both the U.S. Army and the Department of Homeland Security recently purchased hundreds of items of riot gear in exception of disorder at the upcoming RNC, DNC, and presidential inauguration. So yeah, sooner or later they're going to have more troops on the streets, acclimating everybody into a police state and basically taking away your rights because they have to get the IEDs, because that's the new threat now is the IEDs. We got to get the IEDs. Oh, and we also have to take your guns, by the way. It's just like in Hurricane Katrina. We got to take the guns. What for? Don't you want to help anybody? Doesn't matter. We're just going to disarm everyone. Everyone we can come up with. They will not be armed. Alex Jones already played the clip about the guy disarming everybody. It is just going to keep getting worse and worse. And I mean, this is just crazy. How much time I got left? Don't have that much of that time. I got enough. All right. Police claim. This is the next one. Police claim handcuffed man shot himself in the head. Yeah, just like that woman that beat herself up when she was handcuffed, and another woman that basically just nearly killed herself when she was still hogtied. That's right. And having a seizure while she was handcuffed. Yeah, but wow. It's all her fault. I mean, it's just getting more and more insane with these cops. I mean, this won't end. And they know there's going to be a civil war on themselves if they continue to do this. I mean, the people are going to continue to attack them. Oh, and by the way, the people that you always see getting, like, shooting somebody or killing another person, they usually end up dead, or it just keeps getting worse. So, well, it's just going to continue and won't stop. Even though police are woken up, there's like a lot of police that are waking up, but then again, they're also going along to get along. So they're like, what do we do? It's like, well, you could stand up against it and not do the things that you're told that are illegal, by the way. But hey, that's all right. Anyway, continuing here, Jonesboro police claim a man who was searched, handcuffed, double locked, and bounded in the back of a patrol car shot himself in the head. An explanation the man's mother dismisses as a cover-up for murder. After officers claimed Mr. Carter, it was Chavez Carter, was in possession of drugs, they searched him before handcuffing him and putting him in the back of a patrol car. The handcuffs were double locked, making it harder for the locks to be picked. Police then claimed they heard a thumping noise before turning around to see Carter slumped on the back seat, shot in the head. They're still investigating, but they think Chavez somehow managed to pull out a hidden gun, a make-believe gun that's probably not even there, and shot himself in the head. Reports WREG Memphis dispute the fact that officers found no weapon on him during the search. I think they killed him. Killed my son. Wasn't suicidal. I think they killed him. My son wasn't suicidal, said the mom's mother, Teresa Carter. She adds, Chavez was shot in the right temple, and yet he's left-handed. Bizarre. Carter also points out that Chavez called his girlfriend while pulling over and assured her that he would be in contact with again when he got to jail. The officer involved in the incident was been placed on leave pending an investigation. Sergeant Lee Waterworth attempted to default allegations of murder by claiming that officers could have easily missed the gun during the search. That's interesting when they literally search you from literally head to toe, where you could feel it in the guy's back or something like that. What was it, taped to his back, or is this like a Bill Clinton moment? But hey, that's all right. Any given officer has missed something on a search, be it drugs, knife, razor blades. This intense instance, it happened to be a gun. How small was the gun? Like a little tiny pistol? Was it like so small it was like a toy? What were those guns? It was double barrel guns from like the Old West. Not the Old West. It was, I forgot what those those guns were called. Crap. Because those things are so tiny. You only need like little tiny bullets to put in that thing. It was only like a double barrel, tiny shot. Anyway, continuing here. However, that doesn't explain why a man who was not suicidal was somehow able to put a gun to the side of his head and pulled the trigger while handcuffed. Well, where was it? Was it like here? And you can't really see me because I'm doing the podcast. I'm not doing it live. Sorry. But what was he doing? Like putting it right, like when he was having handcuffed, did he pull it, his hands all the way? What was he, like flexing his arms all the way to his temple and then pulling the trigger to his right? Or, yeah, I don't know how he would do that, because the only way you would do that is shoot yourself in the back of the head. But even then, you would probably miss and shoot yourself in the back. But hey, that's just okay. As police brutally in America assaults to new heights of violence and abuse, more and more unprovoked deaths are occurring, but punishments for officers who shoot victims dead are often just like give them like a slap on the wrist, basically. Minuscule. The January 2009, 22-year-old Oscar Grant was shot in the back by policemen. I can't even say that dude's name. As he lay on a platform at a railway station in Oakland, California. The policeman was charged with involuntary manslaughter after he claimed he had meant to use his taser and not a gun. Yeah, right. And ended up serving just 2 years in jail for killing Grant. All right. The last but not least. Okay, good. I got enough time. I got like 30 minutes to finish this. Where did it go? Come on, Matt. There it is. Only 24.6% of all jobs in the United States are good jobs. Of course. I'm going to break this all down. This is from the American Dream by Michael Snyder. I really like those guys' work over there. Do you want to know why it seems like good jobs are very rare in the United States today? It is because good jobs are rare in the United States today. According to a paper that was just released by the Center for Economics and Policy Research, only 24.6% of all American jobs qualified as good jobs in 2010. Over the past several decades, there has been increasing pressure on corporations to reduce expenses and increase corporate profits. One of the biggest expenses that any corporation faces is labor. Large corporations all over the globe are in an endless race to gain a competitive advantage by pushing labor costs as low as possible. Sometimes this is done by using technology, computers, automation, robotics, and other forms of technology have eliminated millions of jobs in the United States, and those jobs are never coming back. Millions of other jobs have been eliminated by offshoring, NAFTA, GATT, duh. Continuing here, in our globalized economy, American workers have been merged into one giant labor pool with everyone else. That makes it very tempting for big corporations to move jobs from areas where workers are very expensive, such as the United States, to areas of the world where it is legal to pay slave labor wages. When big corporations do this, corporate profits go up, but the number of good jobs in the United States goes down. As a result, there is increased competition for the jobs that remain in the United States, and this drives down wages. Meanwhile, the cost of living just keeps going up and growing. Yeah, of course. So millions of American families have fallen into poverty in recent years, and millions of others have gone deep into debt in an attempt to survive. This Dominic, whatever, is obviously shredding the middle class in the United States. So how exactly did the authors of the paper mentioned above come to the conclusion that only 24.6% of all jobs in the United States are good jobs? Well, there had three criteria for what a good job is. Number one, the job must pay at least $18.50 an hour. According to the authors, that is the equivalent of the maiden hourly pay for American workers, but in 1979, after you adjust for inflation. Number two, the job must provide access to employer-sponsored health insurance, and the employer must pay at least some provision of the cost of that insurance. Excuse me, I sneezed. Excuse me. Number three, the job must provide access to an employer-sponsored retirement plan. Using those criteria, the authors of the study found that only 24.6% of all jobs in the United States are good jobs. So why are these so few good jobs in this country? It is because we aren't educated enough. No, the authors of the study found that 34% of all U.S. workers had a 4-year college degree in 2010, while only 19% of all U.S. workers had a 4-year college degree in 1979. So what is the problem? Sadly, the truth is that in a global economy, U.S. workers are viewed as very expensive liabilities. Of course, because we don't want people to prosper. Heaven forbid. That's why Al Gore created NAFTA and GATT, so that it wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen where it's not supposed to be a global economy. It's supposed to be a centralized economy where it was all just the United States and the other countries were supposed to fend for themselves. It wasn't supposed to be that way. But instead, we had to get a World Bank going. You had to get into the EU, like in the European Union, to basically force people to go on false debt, sign them onto it, and literally make sure that they have to pay for their derivatives and the debt that they put on those countries and on the people, even though there's no way of paying it off. Hopefully that's a better breakdown of that. But I could be wrong. You can also look that up for yourself. I still could be wrong. I could be still a kook. In the United States today, hiring a worker is a very complicated and expensive proposition. There are thousands upon thousands of laws, rules, and regulations that must be complied with, and more are consistently being added. In addition, there are a bunch of taxes that must be paid for each employee in addition to the salary and benefits that they are owed. So for big corporations, it makes a lot of sense to move jobs to countries where there is very little red tape and where you can pay workers not next to nothing. Neither major political party is doing anything to stop our economy from bleeding good jobs. And so it will continue happening. To get an idea of just how bad the unemployment situation has gotten in the United States, it is important to look at the U6 rate, which is often called the real rate of unemployment. The U6 rate includes discouraged workers that have given up on looking for a job, and it also includes those that have part-time jobs but that really would like full-time jobs. When you look at the U6 rate, that the increase in unemployment from just 5 years ago is obvious obviously struggling. The following is from a recent CNBC article. Consider Nevada's U6 rate is 22.1%, up from just 7.6% in 2007. Economically troubled California has a 20.3% real rate, while Rhode Island is at 18.3%, more than double its 8.3% rate in 2007. Those numbers compare especially unfavorably to the national rate, high in itself at 14.9%, though off its record peak of 17.2% in October 2009. Ouch. Those often being hit the hardest are those just entering the labor market. For example, about 53% of all U.S. College graduates under the age of 25. I'm not 25. Oh, I'm 25. I'm not under it. Were either unemployed or underemployed last year. Most of the jobs that are available for young college graduates or for the rest of us, for that matter, are crappy, low-paying jobs that often come with no benefits. In the United States today, 1 out of every 4 workers makes $10 an hour or less. That's right. You get less. You get more for less, and you have to pay more for less. I mean, you get less money that comes into you, and then they go, okay, here's all the bills you have to pay. Well, I can't pay them. It doesn't matter. You have to pay it. It's just ridiculous. Let's see, how much time do I got here? Oh, okay. I have to speed through this now. I'm almost done. Okay, good. All right. Just shut up, man, and read. Most jobs that are, I already said that, in the United States today, out of every 4 workers makes $10 an hour or less. Okay, I said that. Continuing here. So can you pay the rent and support a family on $10 an hour? Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. You can't. That's impossible. But hey, that's okay. We like to make that a big delusion and think you can. But these kinds of jobs are becoming more of a part of the labor market in the United States than ever before. 3 decades ago, less than 30% of all jobs in the United States were low-income jobs. Now, more than 40% of all jobs in the United States are low-income jobs. Will it soon be 50%? Yes, it would. I have no doubt. Next year, it'll probably be that. It'll probably be that in like the next couple months. It'll probably be 50%. Continuing, sadly, many Americans are just thankful to be able to find any job at all. There are millions of workers out there that have become so frustrated that they have given up on finding a job entirely. The U.S. government says that the number of Americans not in the labor force rose by $17.9 million between 2000 and 2011. During the entire decade of the 1980s, the number of Americans not in the labor force rose by only 1.7 million. Something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Well, if the economy is not producing enough good jobs, could starting your own business be the answer? Unfortunately, our politicians obviously love to swipe our small businesses with taxes, rules, and regulations. If a small business can somehow survive our politicians, then it must also somehow find a way to survive competition from the giant predator corporations that relentlessly dominate our economy. And by the way, the small business is supposed to be working with the corporations in order for the small businesses also to thrive and the big businesses to also thrive. But instead, the big businesses actually took over the country, so it just doesn't matter. That's why secondhand stores are actually going under, and also mom and pop shops and other good small businesses are going to be gone soon, just like the restaurants. Because of the healthcare bill, it's going to be gone. The restaurant business is going to be totally destroyed. I really think that also like the filmmaking industry will probably be gone soon. But yet again, they always say, well, they're making money right now. Yes, that's true, but yet again, it can also not be making money because of the Colorado massacre, because they want to put in the TSA agents as well. So what am I talking about? Well, let me continue then, because I don't even know what I'm talking about yet. Okay, continuing here, when you consider how much is stacked against our small businesses, it becomes easy to understand why they are doing so badly today. For example, it was recently revealed that the U.S. economy lost more than 220,000 small businesses during the recent recession. But small businesses did not just suffer during the recession. The truth is that they have been hurting for a long time. For a long, long time. In fact, the percentage of Americans that are self-employed fell by more than 20% between 1991 and 2010. And small businesses are creating jobs at a much lower rate than they did previously. In 2010, the number of jobs created at new businesses in the United States were less than half of what it was back in the year 2000. So needless to say, we are facing some major problems. The way that our economic system is struggled is obviously killing American workers, and it is obviously killing small businesses in the United States. If we continue on the path that we are on, things are going to get even worse. Do you have a solution for these problems? Please feel free to post a comment with your thoughts below on the American Dream article and InfoWars article. I think they have, there's tons of articles. The best way to actually get us back the way we actually started was stopping the regulations, stopping the taxes on small businesses, and try to actually reward those that actually were actually doing very well instead of those that are actually doing very badly. And try to actually give small businesses breaks instead of giving corporations breaks instead. So anyway, that's the right now that is the show for today. I just finished all the articles for today. So if you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, as well as follow me on Facebook and on Vimeo and planetinfowars.com, as well as also friend me on Facebook if you would like. As well as you can follow also Close to Modern, the song you just heard. I will post the videos below, not the videos, the links below where you want, where you can subscribe to their channels and stuff like that. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, united we stand and divided we fall. And thank you very much. And God bless America. Thank you.